Veronica Campbell-Brown came to Glasgow in 2014 with 2 Olympic gold medals and a world championship title. She had won nearly everything the sport offered. The one gap in her resume was a Commonwealth gold, and Glasgow was supposed to close it. Standing in the adjacent lane was Blessing Okagbare of Nigeria, a long jumper turned sprint specialist, a woman who had never won a global sprint title but had posted the fastest qualifying time of the entire meet. The analysts respected her. Nobody was calling her the favorite. What happened in the women's 100 meters final made biomechanics coaches re-watch it frame by frame for months. Not because of the result, because of where the race was actually decided, and how early. The conventional reading of this race is wrong in at least one important detail, and that detail changes everything about how you understand elite championship sprinting. The 200 meters 2 days later raised a separate question that still doesn't have a clean answer. Pay attention to what Okagbare does between 40 and 60 meters from the gun. That corridor is where this race is won and lost.
And the women's event had opened up as one of the favourites, Michelle Lee Aye from Trinidad and Tobago, was forced to withdraw with injury. In her absence, it was Nigeria's Blessing Okagbare who qualified fastest for the final, lining up in lane 5. Bronze medalist at the London Olympics, Veronica Campbell-Brown, spearheaded a trio of Jamaicans all targeting glory.
Campbell-Brown needs gold to complete a huge collection of global crowns. Okagbare wants to prove to the world she's as good a sprinter as she is a long jumper. One of these women is 11 seconds away from a piece of sporting history. Okagbare is up and she has a lead over Veronica Campbell-Brown, but the Jamaican's coming. Can the Nigerian come away? Yes, she can! Okagbare, the African queen, reigns in Glasgow tonight. 10:85. She has smashed the game's record and she's denied one of the greatest sprinters in history a Commonwealth title. Veronica Campbell-Brown was desperate to pick up this gold, but it was not to be. Blessing Okagbare has torn the Jamaicans to pieces. 10:85. She had the advantage. Campbell-Brown started to come back, but Okagbare was away. She was in the groove. She looked the best in qualification. She had the fastest time in the semis, and she's delivered the performance of her life tonight. Blessing Okagbare is the Commonwealth champion. A fantastic performance to take the gold. It's silver again for Campbell-Brown, as it was 12 years ago. This might be the title she's destined never to have, and a well-deserved bronze medal for Karen Stewart of Jamaica as well.
Going to Christabel Netty from Canada. Nigeria's Blessing Okagbare was aiming to follow up her 100-metre title in Glasgow with a second gold in the 200 metres. She'd faced strong opposition from both the Jamaican and English sprinters.
Okagbare going for a historic sprint double, and she's got out of the blocks well. Also in lane 2, McLaughlin for Jamaica, but it's Okagbare with Henrys Robinson alongside her, and she's put distance between herself and the field. But in lane 2, McLaughlin's right up there, and McLaughlin might just have the advantage. This is a real battle, but the strength of Okagbare bringing her home, and Williams comes through to take the silver medal. Okagbare winning in 22.25 seconds. 0.05 of a second outside the Commonwealth Games record. It was a little bit harder than it had been before that. She had to dig deep as she put the rounds together, and it's a silver for Jodie Williams of England in a lifetime best 22.5, and Bianca Williams for England has come through to take the bronze medal in 22.58. But Blessing Okagbare, the 100 metres champion, now in a time of 22.25 seconds, is also the 200 metres.
10.85 seconds. That number broke the Commonwealth Games record and announced something bigger than a race result. By the time you finish this breakdown, you'll understand exactly how Blessing Okagbare built that performance, mechanically, tactically, physiologically, and why Veronica Campbell-Brown, one of the greatest sprinters alive, never had a realistic path to the line first. Glasgow 2014 gets remembered as an upset. The data says it was never close. The question worth asking is why? And the answer lives in the 40-meter mark of the 100 meters final. Keep that in mind. Okagbare arrived as the world leader going into the meet. Personal best of 10.79 seconds. Campbell-Brown held 2 Olympic golds, a world championship title, and decades of championship experience. On paper, a genuine contest between different schools of sprinting, Nigerian power and stride length against Jamaican technical precision and championship composure. What the biomechanics revealed was more one-sided than that. The reaction phase is where most analysts start, and here the numbers matter immediately. Okagbare's block clearance registered at roughly 0.142 seconds, well within elite range and faster than Campbell-Brown's estimated 0.156 seconds. 14 milliseconds sounds trivial. In a 10-second race, it isn't. That's nearly 1.5% of total race time, and it sets up the mechanical conditions for everything that follows in the drive phase. Off the blocks, Okagbare held a forward lean of about 45 degrees through her first 3 strides, the optimal range for converting horizontal force into forward velocity. Her first stride measured around 1.3 meters, extending to 1.9 meters by stride 5, a clean acceleration curve. Campbell-Brown's drive phase was tidy but shorter in stride length, reflecting her more compact mechanical model. By 20 meters, Okagbare had already started pulling fractionally ahead. The drive phase ended around the 30-meter mark, where both athletes moved into upright top-speed mechanics. That transition is where the race's outcome was settled. Okagbare's top speed peaked at roughly 11.2 meters per second, reached between 55 and 65 meters. Her stride length at top speed came in near 2.4 meters, with a cadence of about 4.6 strides per second. These aren't outlier numbers for elite sprinting, but that stride length combined with her height of 1.80 meters created a mechanical advantage Campbell-Brown's frame couldn't replicate. Here's the detail that stuck with me when I went back through the footage frame by frame. At the 40-meter mark, Okagbare's ground contact time was visibly shorter than Campbell-Brown's. Elite sprinters typically hit ground contact times between 0.08 and 0.10 seconds at top speed. Shorter contact time means more time in the air, which means faster stride frequency for the same stride length. Okagbare was operating at the technical ceiling for her body type. Campbell-Brown, chasing from behind with slightly longer contact times, was already in a physiological deficit she couldn't close. The most surprising thing about this race isn't the winning time. It's the margin at 60 meters. By that point, Okagbare held a gap of roughly 0.12 seconds over Campbell-Brown. That's nearly 1.3 meters of track. In a 100-meter final, that gap doesn't close in the final 40 meters. The physics don't allow it. Maximum speed is already dropping past 65 meters for every sprinter. The question becomes whose velocity falls off least, not who can surge. So why did Campbell-Brown appear to be closing in the final meters? This is the central tactical question of the race. The answer is counterintuitive. She wasn't actually closing. Okagbare was relaxing. Watch Okagbare through 80 meters, and you're seeing a sprinter who knows she's won. Jaw unclenched, shoulders dropped slightly, arm drive abbreviated. She was managing her mechanics through the line, not racing. Campbell-Brown's apparent surge was her holding effort, while Okagbare managed the coast. Okagbare's 10.85 was probably a 10.78 to 10.80 performance had she driven fully through the line. The 200 meters 2 days later added a different layer. At 200 meters, bend mechanics become decisive. Okagbare's physical profile, long stride, upright posture, high top speed, is slightly less suited to tight bend work than to a pure linear sprint. Her split through the bend was around 11.5 seconds. Her home straight split came in near 10.75 seconds pace equivalent. The 22.25 total reflects a race where she controlled rather than dominated. Unpopular opinion. The 200 meters final showed that Jodie Williams, who ran a lifetime best of 22.50 seconds for silver, was closer to Okagbare than the gold-silver gap suggests. The margins in that race came down to bend-exit positioning and the first 20 meters of the straight, not any physiological gap on Okagbare's part. Had Williams drawn the inside lane, the result could have been different. Lane assignment in championship finals is an underrated variable that almost never gets discussed analytically. What does this tell us about championship sprinting? Glasgow 2014 illustrates a pattern that repeats across major championships. Athletes who peak their mechanical efficiency in qualifying carry a measurable advantage into the final. Okagbare ran the fastest qualifying time in the heats and semifinals. That's not coincidence. It reflects a controlled energy management strategy. Commit fully to mechanical output in qualifiers, establish neuromuscular rhythm, then execute from memory in the final rather than searching for form under pressure. Would you have spotted that distinction watching live? Comment below. Was there a moment where you saw Okagbare shift gears, or did it look like controlled dominance from the gun? The deciding factor in Glasgow wasn't speed. Both finalists were capable of 10.8 range performances. The deciding factor was stride length optimization under championship pressure. Okagbare's 2.4-meter average stride at top speed, combined with her ability to hold that length through 70 meters while others began shortening under fatigue, separated her from the field. Campbell-Brown's silver in 11.03 represents a gap of 0.18 seconds, roughly 1.9 meters of track. That gap was established by 40 meters and never genuinely threatened. The race narrative of Campbell-Brown chasing and nearly catching was visual storytelling, not mechanical reality. When you watch a sprint final, Glasgow, or any championship coming up, look for two things before the gun fires: who had the fastest qualifying time and what their stride length looks like through the 40 to 60 meter corridor. Those two variables predict championship outcomes more reliably than any headline number. The finish time is the result. The stride mechanics are the cause. If this kind of breakdown is useful, subscribe and hit the bell. Every video on this channel gives you one concrete thing to watch for that you couldn't see before. And if you want to see how bend mechanics decided a different 200-meter championship, that breakdown is next.